Howdy, howdy, everybody. Welcome to Rot Lot Media. It's your boy TK, and I'm super excited to talk about the last two comics in the Absolute series. and the fifth comic I'm going to be talking about today in the Absolute series is going to be Absolute Batman, the man who started it all, the reason why Darkseid is so absolutely beyond fuck ass mad that we have this entire universe to be thankful for. If you're curious, if you want to know any more the origin of this comic series, you can go and read All In Special Number 1, and it'll explain to you how the Absolute series was created. And as far as I know from what I've been told, is that Batman pissed off Darkseid so much that he personally created this universe to fuck over Batman. In every issue, you can believe Darkseid that was what he intended for you. But if any of you who are watching this for the first time and don't know what I'm talking about, it is A-OK. Just to give you a TLDR, the Absolute Universe is a darker, grittier, twisted version of the mainline series. And we get introduced to characters that are forced into more complicated situations. There's a lot more fear, a lot more, being a hero is something that the world naturally punishes and rewards villains instead. And you get to watch the man, the myth, the legend himself, Batman, try to fight his way through, I'll just say it, eldritch horrors at a minimum. Yeah, but today we're going to be talking about Absolute Batman. This guy is an absolute unit, and I would probably put him as my favorite version of Batman currently. Right ahead of Batman Beyond with Terry McGinnis. If you never read that series, 100% go and watch it. I like a darker, grittier Gotham, and I think this entire setting is perfect with what they've done with this series. Just to let you know, as of today, there are 20 issues, and there are so many reprints. I think we're on like reprint 13 for issue number 1 alone. So there's like 13 reprints of just this comic alone. So you can get it nice and cheap. You can find it everywhere. Everybody and their mother has one, and so should you. But yeah, so we're going to go on ahead and talk about this. Obviously, this is created by Detective Comics, or DC as it's better known. We have Absolute Batman. As you can tell, he has a lot thicker. He's very thick as a person. This version of Batman, going into some slight spoilers, he's not a playboy billionaire from a wealthy family with high-tech gear and a butler to take care of him with his parents passing. No, this version, we get this nobody of a character. This guy is a nobody. He's just a simple guy who's living life in Gotham. He's an engineer. He's very smart and very capable. And you get to see this almost guerrilla warfare that he does to protect his city. And you get this comic is what I would call the monster of the week of the different absolutes. Because it seems like every issue, give or take, 1 to 3 issues, there's a brand new monster, a brand new villain that Batman has to deal with. And it gets to the point to where you're looking at everything he's fighting against and going, what the fuck, man? Darkseid, give him some slack. And I think that's just such a fun time. Like, comics should be fun, they should be enjoyable, and they should be palpable to anybody, young, old, or whatever you're looking for. And I think this comic does it perfectly. Everybody will probably tell you that Absolute Batman is their favorite. And I'd be right there with you. Like, out of the 6, this is my second favorite, just because of the sheer shenanigans and bullshit that he has to put up with. And yeah, and with this being a monster of the week, or, villain of the week kind of vibe, you get to see all these wonderful cameos, redesigns, introductions. Like, you get to meet a young Bruce Wayne whose friend group that you get to meet. You get to see, you get to see the Penguin, Killer Croc, you get to see Two-Face, you get to see the entire crew. And when you read their names, you're like, holy shit, these guys are his villains, but right now they're his friends. And you're just waiting for that suspense, the drop of when does it happen? When does the break that forms these villains for Batman occur? And you just have that constant fear up until you get the new issue and literally see them plastered on the cover. And you go, oh shit, I know who he's dealing with this week. And that's just such a good thing, because this Batman, he's an underdog. And, he's fighting impossible odds to save the city and everyone in it. This version of Batman, instead of losing both of his parents to a robbery in an alleyway, instead you get to watch this Bruce who wins a design I'm trying to figure out, like, event where with his design he won a class trip to the zoo, and his dad, who was his teacher, brought him and his entire class to this zoo, and a shooting occurred where it killed his dad and it traumatized him because he was in the Bat exhibit. And the coolest thing about this version of Batman is I think this is his most combat focused one, with maybe a few exceptions here and there depending on which Batman you read. But I absolutely love how he fights. Everything is non-lethal as best as he can help it. He obviously has those, if he plans long enough, he can, win it out. And realistically, I think he's just a very prepared guy. And, it's one of those things that I kind of dislike about some of the other Batmans where, oh, if you give Batman enough time, he'll just win. Or, he has forbidden monk magic that allows him to not get his mind read. Fuck that nonsense. It's so stupid. It's so out there. I love it. But with this Batman, I love that he's doing this, like I said earlier, guerrilla warfare, where he's just a hit and run, get in, get out. He's like a bat. And if you can see up here on the page itself, you see that his bat wings, his cape, he can condense into these little coils to where if you've ever seen a bat standing on its own wings, it looks like it's tiptoeing around. And he can use these as like a prehensile tail or like a wing to like shoot up, to stab into things, to get greater heights. And that's why I like how combat focused he is. And I think that adds to a lot of his character, because he's built like a brick train. And some of his weapons and even his vehicle, I pray if any of you get this and get to the part where you see the Batmobile, you'll be hollering and screaming like I was when I was reading it. And that's the absurdity of this comic that just absolutely makes it so authentic and makes it so fresh. Lately, comics have been so serious, and if they have to be darker, they have to, there's no fun in it. But in this universe, they get to have fun while dealing with all the bullshit that comes with world-ending threats, yada yada. And it's just so good, The different themes of this comic is the anti-establishment, Batman hates the corruption in Gotham. He hates who's in charge. He hates how people are being, treated. And he's trying to get rid of it out of his city. You get to see all the different characters, the little cameos. His mother still alive. You get to see her. And, where I am at currently reading, you get to learn something about her. And just, whoa, what the fuck? Sorry, I'm just having an absolute blast talking about this comic. It's been it's been a time coming for it. But yeah, absolute one of my favorite versions of Batman so far. And out of the 6, I think this is my second favorite of the Absolute comics. And if you're thinking to yourself, whoa, what the hell? How could this one not be number 1? And that's because the next comic I'm going to be talking about, just a world in a league of its own. But this comic does so well, and I recommend any of you who can pick it up to absolutely do it. You know, I apologize for all the yapping, cursing, all that, but you need to have fun in a hobby, and that's why I love reading comics, because you just get to see absurd things that you don't get to see in like live action or real life. And I would love to see this maybe animated one day. I think it would do really well, and I'd be the first one to watch it. And yeah, I'm super excited to see how the series goes. And I hope all of you have a wonderful day. And I wanted to thank you for all showing up. All right, have a good one. Bye.